Majestic Trees is an award-winning specialist grower of high-quality mature and character trees for public and private planting. We cater for both trade and retail customers and are unique in offering a comprehensive in-house delivery and planting service for our trees, guaranteeing establishment of any tree we plant. We've been trading since 2002 from our visitor-friendly nursery in Hertfordshire, from which we deliver and plant nationwide. With a stock of over 11,000 trees and shrubs, arranged over an assortment of over 500 varieties. With trees on our nursery as old as 50 years, it's obvious we don't propagate from seedlings. Instead, we source our stock from a more mature age, availing of the opportunity to cherry-pick the best stock on the market as we explore literally hundreds of the smallest and best nurseries across Europe. Over time, we've built long-standing relationships with an extensive range of growers we trust, only sourcing our trees from nurseries that regularly undercut their field-grown stock to promote strong root formation and are vigilant in their pest and disease control. We bring in our new stock every winter, settling the new trees in air pots and bringing them on until each one meets the high standards of Majestic Trees. The investment is considerable, with a carefully managed regime of watering, pest and disease control, formative pruning and potting on. Some of the new arrivals will leave the nursery within a season or two, whilst others will remain in a rolling cycle of production, quietly gaining grandeur as the years pass. We want our customers to be delighted with their investment, with no disappointing mishaps. So as part of our business model, we've always ensured that we have the capability to deliver, offload and plant every tree available for sale in our nursery. Over time, that has led to Majestic Trees becoming the best equipped tree nursery in the UK, with a wide range of highly sophisticated equipment at our disposal, much of which has been customised for the installation of large trees. This allows us to offer a completely bespoke level of service, from curbside delivery where the customer provides the man and machine power to offload the lorry, delivery with offload where the Majestic team carries offloading equipment on board so the trees can be safely offloaded from the lorry to a position near the front of the property, or delivery to the planting area where the Majestic team provides appropriate man and machine power to get the trees from the lorry to the site of planting according to the customer's specification. All trees that we have planted carry a 1-year establishment guarantee. The air pot is a proven revolutionary growing system which overcomes the root spiralling problem of conventional container grown production. It's a truly ingenious design solution, simply a sleeve of recycled and recyclable HDPE that is textured like an egg carton with small holes at the tip of each cone. As the outward growing root tips reach the boundaries of the air pot, the egg carton-like cones funnel the root's growth towards the holes, where the tips eventually dehydrate upon exposure to the air. The effect is a constant, gentle pruning, which stimulates the root system to send out lots of lateral roots, similar to pruning the branches of a shrub. Over time, this process produces a highly robust, densely fibrous root system composed of thousands of water-absorbing white tip roots. With such a robust root system, the air pot trees can be planted any time of year with a virtual 100% success rate. They're the fastest and easiest trees to establish and develop into far superior specimens over time. Trees being living things need an appropriate aftercare if they're to survive and flourish. Our aftercare service is supported by a fully equipped custom-built small truck that includes built-in multiple tanks and pumps for drenching, spraying and injection equipment. Regardless of whether your visit is made as part of an annual subscription or a one-off request, your trees will receive a full health check. The visit will be undertaken by a fully trained horticulturalist who will inspect each tree we've planted, spray for any pests or diseases, fertilise as needed, inject the roots with stimulants, prune as necessary. Furthermore, a report will be issued on how each tree is doing and what watering you need to be doing over the next month. How much of this aftercare you, the customer, wish to provide personally will likely depend on your level of interest and expertise, your budget, and your attitude towards risk.
I'm Steve McCurdy, I'm Managing Director of Majestic Trees, and here we are in Hampshire today at a large garden of a client we've had for about 15 years. This lady is totally passionate about trees. She calls herself a tree hugger, and we love customers like her because they come back many times to buy more and more trees. In this case, about 12 times.
Hi, I'm Joanna Watrous, and this is my home and my garden. I'm Canadian, and I grew up on a tree farm, a Christmas tree farm, and in the woods. And I am a bona fide card-carrying tree hugger. And my husband and I bought this property almost 20 years ago now because it had some fantastic mature trees. It also had a very big blank canvas, which is a field, about 10 acres, of set-aside that had never had anything planted in it. And so it was quite an exciting palette for me to be able to plant some trees. I'm also very involved with the Royal Botanic Garden Kew, and so I know that planting trees and a good variety of trees is good for the planet, it's good for the ecosystem, but really, I do it because I think it's good for the soul. I think I first heard about Majestic Trees in some gardening magazine, I can't remember, but they had a full page ad in the Majestic Trees, and they had pictures of the nursery that had obviously been taken. It was an aerial shot, so I thought, okay, that looks good. And so I made my first trip to Majestic Trees, to the nursery, maybe 15 years ago. At which point I discovered people like me should not go to tree nurseries because I have very low impulse control. It's a problem. And they just had this extraordinary collection of semi-mature trees, which is mostly what I'm planting. And it was a great variety and terrific quality. So I made a start with Majestic Trees and putting them into what we call the park now. But I'm a believer in biodiversity, and I wanted a big variety of trees, and that's what Majestic was able to give me. And then you have this strategy which hits reality, and my reality is this is the highest house in Hampshire. The park is incredibly exposed, and if you stick a fork in the ground, chalk and clay and flint come out. So that limits what I can do. But even more important, the wind is relentless, and so I have to be thoughtful about what I can plant in the field. I have a thing for acers, and I'm very, very lucky that 250 years ago, a lot of very large cedar and pine and other conifers were planted here. And so up where we're standing now on the clay cap, it's actually quite acidic because of the decades and decades of pine needles. And so the acers thrive up here. I've got about 25 or 30 up here on the top of the garden, and then more further down and into the garden. None, I'm afraid, in the field for obvious reasons. But this one is my latest acquisition, which I'm obviously quite excited about. I mean, you can see in this tree in particular, it's a fairly mature acer with a very substantial root ball, and they're grown in air pots, which are these black pots that have got little holes all the way around, which allow the drainage in and the air out. And when you take that off, you get the burlap and wire that's just holding it together. So when this comes off, and the roots will grow right through this, you get a really well-developed root ball. So I know that the tree will be happy and get established relatively quickly. And they'll put it in a square hole rather than a round hole, because that gives maximum space for the roots to grow out, as opposed to just continuing to go around in circles. I took a decision at the very beginning that I wanted to put trees in that had some meaning to me, but also I was very conscious of the number of native trees in particular that we had already lost or were going to lose. My favorite tree, of which I only have one, is the American ash. I just adore this tree. It's just started to turn, and the leaf is much finer and pointier, almost like a bamboo leaf, compared to the English ash.